Why don't I want to work? What's wrong with me? We all have days where we just don't feel like it. And it's important to note that this means there's nothing wrong with you. It's actually a very common feeling. The next steps are identifying why you feel this way and what can you do about that. And if you feel like you don't want to work and you really just can't shake this feeling, don't worry. We have you covered as well. And we're going to cover some common signs of demotivation and what they all mean. Because chances are you probably do have to work at least a little bit in some capacity.
Our first reason that you may not be feeling it at work is you lost sight of what you're doing. It's easier than you think to fall off track with what you're doing. Maybe the pandemic changed your role dramatically. This can happen when your job takes over or when you're too busy to think straight. This can also happen when you've overstayed your time at a certain company or within a certain role. This is as good a time as any to remind you of one important thing. Your career is not your entire life. Your career is something to build and to be proud of, but it is a part of your life, not the entirety of it. Your job doesn't need to be the entire dream. It can be good enough for you. How to remotivate when you've lost sight of what you're doing. Check in with your core values and how they relate to your work. If you find that they are misaligned, do the work to realign them. We know we talk a lot about core values, but we promise it's only because they are so important, especially for motivation. They also change as you navigate through your life and your career. If your current job function, company culture, or workload doesn't fit your life's goals any longer, switch things up. Here's how to align your core values with your work. Helping others. Let's say your number one core value is helping others. If you're working as an administrator in commercial real estate law, you might want to switch up your industry to meet your value. Perhaps you could look for a role in healthcare, nonprofits, or education to bring your values to your job. Taking care of my family. Maybe your core value is taking care of your family and kids. Heck, we earn our paychecks to support our lives, don't we? You're earning a massive salary, but you see your family close to never. Perhaps you want to find a less demanding job and trade off your salary for more time with your loved ones. Continued learning. Okay, one more. Let's say your core value is constantly learning. Your current job is good, but you feel stagnant. Create opportunities to expand your skills at your current job. Ask your boss if there are opportunities for learning stipends and get to learning. Reason number 2, you've reached your big goal and you feel nothing. Set a big goal? Amazing. Achieved it? Even better. Sitting in the wake of your achievements is supposed to feel incredible. It's supposed to be the moment. You're supposed to brag, collect accolades, and feel absolutely almighty. So what happens when you achieve your goal and it feels more like a blip? We live in a culture where it feels like we should always be striving for the next big thing. We work hard to get it, feel nothing, and repeat the process. This is when we find ourselves lost. Like, what is it we're even working towards anymore? How to remotivate once you've reached your big goal. It might be time to ditch the narrative that we always need to be chasing. We love goals, love them. We love setting, achieving, and celebrating goals. Sometimes it's that last step, the celebrating, that we miss. Life is busy, so it's easy to forget to celebrate a work anniversary, a big raise, a promotion and title, or any other number of goals. Our solution has 2 steps. Manage your expectations around setting and achieving goals. Don't expect one achievement to change everything. Make time to celebrate. Take the time to celebrate your goals. It could mean writing it down, rewarding yourself, or mentioning it in the next team meeting. Make sure to acknowledge it. Reason 3, you hate your job and everyone there. If you hate everything about your job, you're not alone. It's horrible to be stuck in a workplace and feel unable to move. However, many people find themselves in positions where they are unable to quit, even if it's obvious that they should. Here's the thing, it's easy for us to yell from the rooftop, quit your job, it'll save your life. The truth is that everyone has different situations. Everyone has different reasons for why they might be stuck in a job they absolutely hate, sitting alongside colleagues and supervisors that they despise. How to remotivate when you hate your job plus all your coworkers. So here's our advice. Well, it is still to quit, but to do these things first. Separate work from home. Try not to let work come home with you. If you need to compartmentalize, do it. Toxic jobs, horrific bosses, and bad workplaces have a tendency to seep into other parts of our lives. Try to enjoy your life outside of work wherever you can. Create an I Quit fund. We have a great article from Amanda Holden on how to do just that. Learn the lessons. Make sure you take note of all the bad and never let that happen again. Reason number 4, you feel underappreciated or alienated from everyone else. Lack of recognition is a huge contributor to overall employee unhappiness and turnover. In fact, data from Tiny Pulse shows that 21.5% of employees that don't feel recognized when they do great work have interviewed for a job in the last 3 months. Feeling underappreciated at work is a huge demotivator, especially when you feel you're doing great work. Often, the same employees who feel underappreciated find that their mistakes are highlighted more than the great work that they do accomplish. This is likely a big warning sign that your workplace is toxic. You might not be receiving recognition for a number of reasons. Here are just a few. The company culture doesn't consider recognition important. There is a, quote, favorite employee at work who usually gets attention. Your boss or manager sweeps up credit for all the good work done. You are misunderstood or disliked for one reason or another. How to remotivate when you're feeling underappreciated or alienated. It's possible that you work in a fast-paced environment where recognition just doesn't happen. It might not be that you're actually underappreciated, but that the culture doesn't align with your workplace love language. You know in your gut whether your workplace is toxic. If you're not sure, there are other telltale signs of a toxic workplace. However, if your job is otherwise pretty good and you just want a little recognition, communicate that. In addition to communicating your needs, make sure you're also giving recognition to others. By steering your culture in a direction of celebrating wins, it might just catch on. Raise your hand in the next meeting to share a big win. If you're communicating over email, hit reply all and write a few lines about a compliment your team received. At Career Contessa, we have a Slack channel where we celebrate wins, compliments, testimonials, and all the good news. It's a small thing that makes a huge difference. And yes, it makes us want to continue to do the work we do. Reason 5, you've lost all inspiration. You may have lost inspiration for a variety of reasons, so let's focus on the why. Here are a few questions to ask yourself to figure out why your inspiration tank has run dry. When was the last vacation day I took where I really disconnected? Am I being adequately recognized? Have I experienced any growth in the last 6 months, the last year? Does my work still align with my values? Do I need more support? Do I need more challenging work? Do we, as a team, need to switch up how we do things? Are we experiencing a long plateau? How to remotivate when you've lost inspiration. Reevaluate your work. Think back to a time when you felt extremely motivated and inspired at work. How does that differ from what's happening now? Has leadership changed? Are you working with difficult clients? Have you simply outgrown your role? You might find that you need to level up in the challenge department. The job that seemed difficult and challenging to you might not be that way anymore. It could be time to go after that promotion and explore new career opportunities, whether at your current organization or elsewhere. Reason 6, you had different expectations for this, quote, dream job. The dream job myth. We're all taught to go after that dream job, but it's a unicorn after all. Yes, you can love your job. Yes, everything can fit your lifestyle and what's important to you at this moment. The thing is, the dream job doesn't really exist. It's sort of an oxymoron. Don't be completely gutted if your dream job doesn't end up living up to what you thought. Just like meeting a huge goal, it's sort of impossible to figure out what it will feel like until you actually get there. How to remotivate when your expectations differ from reality. Identify what it is about your job that made it, quote, the dream. It may have been a cool title at a company that seemed amazing. Once you pulled the curtain back, you may have found yourself extremely disappointed. That's okay. It happens to us all, and it's a learning experience. If your dream job turns out to be closer to a waking nightmare, reassess what you want to do, where you'd like to do it, and why. Of course, the Job Search Academy uses a company-first job strategy that allows job seekers to take a different approach to find their job. Another common occurrence is that your job is completely fine. The hours are good, the commute is short, your boss is pleasant, your coworkers are supportive, but your job didn't transform you overnight into a powerful CEO ruling the world. That's okay. We call this the good enough job. It's a job that fits your lifestyle without overtaking it. In a culture where we are supposed to let our jobs rule our identities, having a, quote, good enough job can feel like a downer over a cocktail conversation. Here's the thing. Who cares? Try to shift your mindset if you're experiencing a dream job hangover. Maybe your job is good enough. Reason 7, you're too burned out. If you're burned out, you know it. One common misconception about burnout is that it only happens to those of us who are working high-stress jobs and pulling 100+ hours a week. Burnout is an actual diagnosis recognized by the World Health Organization. In fact, studies have shown that 77% of employees feel burned out at their current job. There are actually 3 types of burnout, and they can all leave you absolutely exhausted. Frenetic burnout. Frenetic burnout experienced by employees who put a ton of energy into their work in the hopes that the output will be rewarding. After a sustained period of dedicated work, the frenetic worker does not find positive outcomes. How to remotivate when you feel frenetic burnout. Rather than becoming deterred from this, the frenetic worker continuously channels maximum energy into work with little to no regard for health or work-life balance. Those who work more than 40 hours a week are more prone to suffer from this type of burnout, which usually ends in complete mental and physical exhaustion. Under-challenged burnout. This type of burnout occurs when an employee feels under-challenged and bored at work. Being unable to find any satisfaction in a job, the under-challenged employees find themselves in a lowered mood. How to remotivate when you feel under-challenged burnout. The under-challenged employee needs to identify what she loves, what she excels at, and what matters to her. From there, she can best beat this type of burnout by finding a position that offers an intersection of these passions. Worn out burnout. A worn out employee is someone who has resigned from their work after experiencing consistent work stress over a long period of time. Having experienced negligible rewards, the worn out employee feels disillusioned and uninspired by the job at hand. How to remotivate when you feel worn out burnout. Worn out burnout often occurs when an employee gives her power and work to others instead of taking it into her own hands. If you're suffering from worn out burnout, identify why you aren't motivated by your work. Take the steps to either reclaim your ownership or look for a position that could better fulfill you. And finally, reason 8, you don't want to go back into the office. If you've been working remotely for a long time and you finally found your groove, you're definitely not alone. As many employees turn to remote work for a lack of other options in 2020, the workforce has changed. The expectation that everyone should turn around and come back has caused confusion and heightened dissatisfaction. How to remotivate when you don't want to go back into the office. What do you do if you'd prefer to find a new job that offers remote work? 1, talk to your boss. You don't know what you don't know. While your organization might be teasing a return to office, it's absolutely normal to have personal issues with it. Talk to your boss, bring evidence of your success over the period of time that you've worked remotely. Ask pointed questions about why a return is necessary. 2, reassess. In an ideal situation, your boss will listen and work something out. However, if your team is ready to return to the office tomorrow and you're not on board, you have no obligation to stay at your job. Look for job openings that offer the perks of flexible work that you've grown accustomed to. If there's one thing that many of us learned during the lockdown, it's that adjustments can be made. If your midday workouts and sweatpants Fridays have been working for your life, then prioritize flexible work in your future career changes.